Hi, my name is Nicole, and I've had an abortion.
My name is Gaylon, and I've had an abortion.
And so, Gaylon is the ED of the Chicago Abortion Fund, that is the executive director. And the Chicago Abortion Fund is a fund that funds low-income women in their second trimester who cannot afford to pay for their abortion on their own. I am a part of the My Voice, My Choice leadership group, which is the advocacy arm of the Chicago Abortion Fund. And so we do peer-to-peer education, community outreach, and education and forming. So tonight we're going to be talking about analyzing the language of the anti-choice movement, which a lot of you might know as the pro-life movement. And so just to get started, I'm just going to open up the floor to Gaylon and see if she has any remarks and things to open up with.
Okay, so thank you, Nicole, for the introduction. And Nicole is one of our amazing group members that was funded by our fund. We helped her pay for her procedure some years ago, and then she came back to the fund to work on advocacy projects with us and to educate herself, empower herself, and so that she could go out into her own community and do that education and peer-to-peer conversations and talking around that. So last month we were throwing some different ideas around, and we kept coming up with some language that the anti-choice movement tends to use, and we're hearing it more now just because the election time is coming up. And so we said, hey, let's talk and analyze the anti-choice language that they use, even though some of that stuff has no validity whatsoever. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're just going to throw terms out there, and we're going to discuss them.
So I guess I'll start because one of the terms that I found when researching that really kind of got me was infanticide, and that's what they call women who get abortions. That's what they say they are committing, infanticide. And the actual definition of infanticide is the act of killing an infant or the practice of killing newborn infants. But in order to be killing an infant, it has to be a child. And so I was like, okay, infanticide, what is that?
Right, exactly. You know, that doesn't make sense. But, and here's another one. The partial birth abortion term that they always use. First and foremost, partial birth abortion is not even a medically accurate term. It is not, there's no validity to it whatsoever. It's not on, went into the dictionary online, 0 results came up. But then I went to the hard copy of the American Heritage Dictionary of the English language, and it's not in there. So that's something that they tend to throw out. It's supposed to, you know, partial birth. It's supposed to be, you know, your abortion on a child, a baby is almost born. And that's, you know, that's just something very inflammatory. It's, you know, very emotional. It gets, you know, people riled up. I think we have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hi. One of the things that really always kind of gets to me with these so-called pro-life people, if you ask them, almost 1% of these quote-unquote pro-life people are also pro-death penalty. So they're anti-potential life, but they're against real life.
That is an excellent point. Thank you, caller, for mentioning that. And that's another thing that we want to say is we don't use the term pro-life. We use anti-choice because the opposite of pro-choice is anti-choice. and that is more there against choice. Because you have plenty of people in the pro-choice movement that are also pro-life and, you know, all that kind of good stuff. So it's just another way, another emotional term that's inflammatory to get people going. I think we have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Yeah, I just wanted to commend you on doing a show about this because, you know, I'll often see a lot of language out there that's kind of manipulative to pull on people's heartstrings and whatnot, and it's just good to talk about, you know, what some of these words actually mean. So thank you for doing a show.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to add, because that is, like you said, they use, we use anti-choice, you know, and they call us anti-life. And to be anti means that you oppose to a practice, party, policy, or action, and we don't oppose to life. Like we don't oppose to life. A lot of women who have had abortions actually already have children, and so how could I oppose to life if I already have a child? Like,
and on top of that, when they're saying, you know, we're opposed to that, it's like, no, we choice. It's whatever a woman chooses to do. And our whole thing is just lay out all the choices for someone, so that they can make a well-informed decision, and not try to convince. I don't try to convince people to have an abortion every day. You know, it's like, you know, we have women in the leadership group that have continued their pregnancies, that have decided not to have an abortion, and they're still in a leadership group. It really is about a woman making her own decision based on all the facts.
Yes, that is true. And a lot of anti-choices, they try to act like they do that with their crisis pregnancy centers.
Right, so talk a little bit about that.
Well, when I was looking up the crisis pregnancy center, it was just so funny to me because I looked on Wikipedia, and I didn't know until Gaylon told me, you are like a medical professional or like a doctor or something, like you can add to a definition on Wikipedia, and they, you know, have to approve it and stuff like that. But it's supposed to be a center that helps women that are pregnant by presenting them with all the options that they have once they become pregnant. But a lot of the staff that they hire for crisis pregnancy are anti-choice, and a lot of times they try to sway a woman from the option of abortion, which is not completely giving a woman all the options. And I've went to one of these centers before, as I'm pretty sure if you watched me, you've heard. I've went to one, and that's exactly what they did to me. They tried to sway me away from my decision of having an abortion. The lady, she even went as far as to tell me that I came to terms with my pregnancy, that she would help me out and things like that. So it was just really like, if I was a really weak individual and really, like, you know, didn't have the education that I know, it would have really got to me, because they like put me in a room and showed me like a videotape, and it was just like, what is this? Let me get up out of here.
Yeah, and you know what we said, people, they'll come back and they'll say, no, we give support, and you know, we're caring, and blah 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 blah. But they actually do that. They show you a scare tactic, right? And they try to talk you out of your decision, and they don't tell you like all the choices you could possibly have.
Exactly.
So, you know, is that really a
crisis pregnancy center? No. So
what about I want to talk about the term, you'll hear this a lot, and I just saw this today, abortionist.
Oh, okay.
So that is a really interesting term. I looked it up. You know, we looked up all these in the dictionary, and it says a person who performs abortions illegally. And back then, when they were performing them illegally, you would find more people that weren't doctors. But now, they're performed by doctors. I mean, I'm sure, you know, with any type of situation, there may be somebody out there that is not, but, you know, they are performed by doctors. And for, you know, for the anti-choice movement to refer to them as abortionists, doing something illegal, abortion is a legal medical procedure. And these are doctors. These are doctors that went through school, that got their certifications and their degrees, and they practice. And so for them to, you know, use this inflammatory term is disturbing. And you know what it also shows? Not only is it disturbing, to me, when I see these different tactics, when they use these type of words, when they hold the posters up outside the abortion clinics, I look at them as desperate. They're very desperate, because if they believed in their argument, if they actually believed in their argument and they had a strong, solid argument, they would not have to go through all the theatrics that they do. You know, just lay your argument down on the table and let a woman choose and decide. But if you have to go through all that, if you have to put a whole bunch of effort into it, then do they really believe in what they're doing?
That is a good question.
We're going to take a break and show our overhead. So if there's someone out there that needs help and assistance, wants to volunteer, wants to reach out, wants to ask us additional questions, here is our contact information. And phone number, there's 312-663-08, or we could be reached, you know, at info@ChicagoAbortionFund.com. And there's our website at the bottom.